Now, the man accused of killing the US healthcare boss, Brian Thompson, faces 11 charges, including of murder as an act of terrorism. But the weapon that Luigi Mangione is accused of using is also drawing attention because it was a so-called ghost gun. Now, last week we did discuss guns like this. They are mainly made of 3D printed parts with blueprints available on the internet. Let's talk to one Labour MP who's trying to do something about them. It is Preet Kaur Gill, who says the government is backing her bill to crack down on the weapons. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Now, tell us a little bit about what your bill aims to achieve.
Yes, well, firstly, I can say that, we've been really successful here in the United Kingdom in policing gun crime. But 3D printed firearms, I think, are presenting quite a new challenge to law enforcement because they can be made at home and they're untraceable. You mentioned the Mangione case of a ghost gun, as it's described. And last year, a man in Birmingham was actually convicted of printing and using a 3D printed assault rifle in his own home. And if you look at police figures, there's been a fourfold increase last year alone in terms of over 20 3D printed firearms being removed. And that's why working with Channel 4 documentary makers who raised this issue to me, I was able to present a bill, and as you rightfully say, which will make it an offence of being able to possess a blueprint to produce any part of a firearm through 3D printing.
Right. But you can't stop those blueprints being available on the internet.
Right. So this is part of, producing the bill. This is the work that's being done as to what more we need to do in terms of social media companies, because many of your viewers will think that it's really difficult to get an access to a blueprint to make a gun. But actually, it's very, very easy. You can just do a Google search and you get a kind of an IKEA step-by-step guide telling you actually what you need, what material you need, what kind of printer you need. Many people would think part of the documentary called Plastic Printed and Deadly, they actually showed me parts that they had printed. And what some of us may think may look like an imitation gun, actually, these are really deadly weapons and can cause real harm. And it isn't just plastic. You can use metals. That's how sophisticated the technology really has become.
Right. This actually, when you describe what people are able to do, it's absolutely petrifying. About your bill working in practice, though, it seems, if I'm honest, slightly unlikely. I just don't see how you can join the dots and stop. You can't stop some of these online companies doing anything. How would you be able to stop them doing this?
Well, I think you can. I think this is where, national security really needs to look at that already there is the evidence base that in crimes committed here in the United Kingdom, those guns have been used. And so there is a bit about possessing the blueprint. At the moment, you can download the blueprint, you can possess it, you can make the gun. It's not traceable. We've got to make it that if law enforcement are turning up to your property, that they can confiscate those blueprints and remove them. And at the moment, they don't have the powers. But of course, you are right. We've got to work with online companies to be flagging these issues and not allowing it to be downloadable in the first place. And so there is a piece of work. And as we go ahead and produce the bill ahead of second reading, it is going to be factoring what more we can do to make sure that they have a duty working. This is about national security. This is about supporting our law enforcement.
Well, you're pretty certain, are you, of a decent level of cross-party support for your bill?
Absolutely. I think, look, when I presented it in Parliament, so many MPs came up to me and didn't realise this was a thing. I think most people think of imitation or a 3D printed gun as a Nerf gun almost. Actually, they're way more sophisticated. And I think the Luigi Mangione case has just sort of highlighted actually, he had a 9mm gun produced by 3D printing. Even the silencer was produced by 3D printing. And so the harms that it can do, and this is something that can quite easily become a real trend, because of the fascination of people with sort of weapons. Like I say, gun control in this country has been absolutely exemplary. But I think this makes it really difficult for law enforcement to be able to trace these weapons that are produced at home. They're not licensed in the same way. And what we want to do is we want to make sure this does not undermine our gun control here in the United Kingdom.
Right. I mean, if it offers consolation to anyone listening who's just thinking, well, this just sounds absolutely petrifying, the barrel of the gun, I understand you have to buy that. And that was the case in the murder of Mr. Thompson in the States.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. But what law enforcement had also found is that there are factories here that were trying to produce that ammunition that can be used. So it's about how accessible it really is. You can make parts, you can 3D print parts for these kind of weapons. And when you piece it together, of course, they can be really deadly and cause major harm.
Can we talk about the WASPy women? I wonder how many emails you've had from constituents who are hacked off about the government refusing to give compensation to these women.
Look, I appreciate this is a really difficult situation, and the government's got to take decisions based on the fiscal position it finds itself. £10 billion of taxpayers' money at the time when we're facing a cost of living crisis. People are still facing the impact of inflation, their mortgages, their rents being high. And the government has got to be investing the money it has in public services, and that's the priority it has had to make and take. It is not an easy decision. I get that, but we have had a lot of time to sort of prepare and plan that this was not going to happen. I mean, our commitment to the triple lock has been really, really important.
Yes, I wonder though, let's be honest, I wonder whether some people are questioning now the commitment to the triple lock because the heating allowance is gone. Now this, some people, we've already had a WhatsApp this afternoon from a listener who's slightly concerned that the triple lock might go for a Burton as well.
But it was in our manifesto and we costed for it. This is an uncosted, proposal that we didn't put in our manifesto. We inherited a situation where the government had made lots of pledges, but the last government had made lots of pledges, but hadn't told us how we were going to pay for it.
Yeah.
We have absolutely been clear that we have got the money to be able to pay for the triple lock, and that commitment remains.
Okay, Preet, if you don't mind, I'm just going to bring in another listener who says, re the WASPy women, Labour made no electoral promises to compensate these women. There was nothing about it in their manifesto. So that he's right, isn't he, Paul?
Yes, absolutely, he is right. And like I said, coming into the election, we knew how difficult it was going to be to raise the money for public services, and that's why it wasn't in the manifesto, because we were not prepared to make commitments we know we could not deliver.
No, except of course that the newspapers are full today of Angela Rayner with WASPy women offering her support. I think Liz Kendall had also done it. I think Keir Starmer had been pictured with them. You can't blame people for being pretty angry about what's happened in the last 24 hours or so.
Look, the situation in 2017 and 2018 is very different to the situation in 2024. As I say, we inherited a very difficult fiscal position. We've got to make difficult decisions. The previous government should really apologise for the state of the public services that they have left. Now it's Labour's duty and responsibility to fix those, and we have to prioritise what we have and can deliver. And we've got to really be honest. We've got to bring trust back into politics. If we had stated that we would, fulfill this pledge, knowing we couldn't pay for it, I think that would be so damaging to our politics. Sometimes as leaders, you have to take the difficult decisions. It makes you unpopular. I get that. I think the country does understand the inheritance that Labour has. And actually, Keir Starmer is phenomenally showing that sense of leadership of taking those tough, difficult decisions.
Thank you very much. That's the view of the Labour MP, Preet Kaur Gill.